For most people, cars are just a way to get from point A to point B, or a temporary escape during a quick drive or fun vacation. But for people like me, cars are a part of the family. Like a trusty parent, always reliable with room for all my needs. Like an old friend who always seems to get me in trouble but is so much fun to be around. Like a rich uncle who lets me play with all of his technology and modern comforts. Like a grandparent that has been through everything and keeps on going. Seeing a car on the verge of driving its last mile can be hard. You'd do anything to save someone you care about from the graveyard, right? Thankfully, auto restoration is a way to bring my other half back from the edge. Although it can be frustrating at times, it is a passion that drives professionals in the business and amateur hobbyists like me alike.
I've always loved working on cars. When I was about 7, they put me on a go-kart and they didn't get me off until it ran out of gas. And I've pretty much been going the same way ever since. I've just always been around loud cars going really fast. I had a 1969 MGB GT. And yeah, I just decided that I wasn't going to pay anybody else to do something I thought I could do, so I just started doing it. Pretty much been doing it ever since at that same kind of level. My wife is in the business, and she realizes that part of what drives the business is my idiosyncrasies, and she tolerates quite a bit of what other people probably wouldn't tolerate as far as me and my cars.
I actually started in the shop working on the cars. I was substitute teaching and I just was not satisfied with that, so I met Bob and I started to work in the shop with him, and I worked on some of the cars that we have finished, and I realized that he needed a lot of organization in the office department, so I switched over and started working kind of as an administrator. Right now I have a Porsche 944 and I have a Jeep, and my husband lets me drive any car that I want, so I have access to lots of cars. Sure. He's a car person. I think it's wonderful. I mean, everybody should have such a passion that drives them in life.
Somebody keyed my car once, and I decided right then that if I ever saw anybody keying anybody's car, I was going to take that individual and I was going to pummel them. If they destroyed my car, I don't know. Can you kill them? Would it still be like a, what do they call that? Is that a corporate crime? No, they get to kill a lot of people. I can't think of it. Self-defense, a crime of passion. I always like just cause. Why'd you kill him? Just cause? Well, first off, there is no average restoration. Every one of them is different. Complete restoration, we're looking at the exterior, we're looking at the interior, we're looking at the chassis, we're looking at the drivetrain, we're looking at the electrical, we're looking at the chrome and stainless, we're looking at the glass, we're looking at the rubbers and felts, all the weather strips. The guys here all complement each other as far as the way our skills overlap. Every guy here just about touches every car. One guy that's painting, we got one guy that's doing all the preliminary body work, we've got one guy that's taking them apart. We've got another guy that does all of the cleanup of parts and all the separation of parts, and one guy does all the electrical.
I'm the fabricator, so I have to work with the mechanic, I have to work with the body guy, and I have to work with the painter. I'm putting a Hagen fuel door into the rear panel. This is a car that we're modifying, so it's a little more tricky because of the paint and the filler. So we have to use very low heat welding the panel in.
This is a instrument panel dashboard for the Cobra right back here. And we've refinished this. We put new leather in it. We put some new gauges in it, some new dash pieces, and a radio. And I'm just wiring it up, redoing the electrical wiring harness to fit all the new gauges and the radio and everything else.
This car came in for a repaint, and I repainted it, and there was a few edges that I didn't like, so I'm going over them with some 1500 and 2000 sandpaper, and I'm going to do a 3-stage process of buffing it. I'm going to put some Perfected on it and bring the luster back to the paint and buff it, and then I'm going to finesse it, then I'm going to ebony it, and then I'm going to butter wax it, and then it'll look sweet.
Right now I'm working on a 66 Oldsmobile Toronado. We're starting a frame-off restoration on it, and I'm in the process of pressing in the new bearings, cleaning up the frame, cleaning up the underbody. Anything involved in the frame-off is what we're doing.
It's a 35 Chevy pickup, and just doing the final assembly. Today is interior and just adjusting stuff, and just going over it for the final time. It's almost done. Probably within a couple days they'll start buffing it, and it'll be ready for the customer.
Well, one of the things that I've learned and one of the things I look for are guys that are involved in this personally. Every guy here has a project at home.
Right now I have a 68 Volkswagen sedan that I'm in the process of chopping the top and turning it into a Cal Look Bug. I have a 74 Super Beetle that's completely painted, ready to be put back together.
I got a Cobra like that one over there, 26 Model T, and a couple other, I can't remember where they're at right now.
I've got a race car in my garage that I work on for a friend of mine. And my son races go-karts, so I have 2 of those go-karts. And then I also have a 48 Willys.
My race car is my most favorite thing to work on. I have a black Datsun 240Z that I have run in high-speed autocross and wheel-to-wheel road racing. I get a great deal of pleasure of taking things that are relatively stock and beating guys with tons more money. I like doing that a lot. In general, I try and take care of my cars really well. You know, my race car, even though I flog it, I mean, it only has 2 speeds, off and wide open, and but I really, go over it, check it all the time, really keep an eye on it, and you almost develop a symbiotic relationship with it. It's like you plug in, you sit in, you strap in, and you plug in, and then all of a sudden you are the car. And if you strap yourself down tight enough, it actually feels like you are the car. Last summer when I was drag racing my Trans Am, I cracked the window and I cooked the clutch at one point, and I really felt bad. I really felt, guilty, and it was almost like I'd punched it in the face. Yeah, for the most part, I develop some kind of a, what do they call it? Is that anthropomorphic or something? Where you start attributing human characteristics to inanimate objects. I swear, I had a Jaguar that I swore it hated me. Just swore it hated me. And it would pick the most inopportune times to die. And then it would die in these random, why did it die kind of reasons. There may be something to that, I don't know. No typical customers, they run the gamut. I would say if they had anything in common, it's just that they all love their stuff. The fellow with this pickup truck loves his pickup truck, and the fellow with this 49 Merc loves his 49 Merc. The guy with the Ferrari loves his Ferrari. These people are all doing this because they have like an emotional commitment or something that's tying them to the vehicle on an emotional level.
That's about the coolest part of this business. You get to see all the work that you did, and they come in and they look at the car and they're smile from ear to ear and happy, and you know, that makes it all worthwhile, all the work.
I'm very pleased when they're very pleased. Even guys that typically don't smile usually do when they get to finally pick them up. So, yeah, there's not usually an unhappy customer on delivery day, not a one. You know, they'll be under their cars, they'll be inside their cars, they'll be up under the dash. You know, these are guys that are really can appreciate what goes into it from every angle. We did a 47 Ford Anglia that, I mean, I built this car as a model when I was a kid. So when I got the chance to build it for real, I already knew what I was going to build. And the customer was very pliable and basically let me build the car I would have built for me. And it was really hard to give that one back. One of the more unique cars that I've had the opportunity to work on is, it was called the 410 Superfast Ferrari. It was a one-of-a-kind. It was the star of the 1956 Paris Auto Show. It's won so many competitions that it's no longer shown in competition. It's shown as an exhibit-only piece. And it was at Pebble last year as such. One of the other very unique automobiles we did was the Iso Griffo A3L. That is the first prototype. That is the prototype for all the Iso Griffos. That car has since been sold to a collector. It lives in a climate-controlled plastic bag. So I like the trend where these really famous, iconic type cars are being replicated. I think you should build a replica and just beat it to death and then build another one. Historically significant vehicles should be taken care of for what they are. And other than that, drive the wheels off it.
I have 3 Renaults, one of which runs, the other 2 don't. They make me insane. One of them, the engine, well, 2 of them, the engines are dead. The other one, pretty much everything else is dead except the engine. But that engine will fit in my other one.
Find a socket wrench that fits the screwdriver head.
The last car I acquired was an '86 Renault Alliance. Well, at the present, my instrument panel decided to not light itself up anymore. Not exactly sure why. All the plugs are connected, all the fuses are good. It just stopped working. And the other vehicles we have had the starter decide for a day or two doesn't want to start, and then it starts again. And just other random issues.
We tell people up front that, you know, this is not an inexpensive venture. It's time consuming. It costs as much to restore a Volkswagen as it does a Ferrari. You know, a square inch of rust is a square inch of rust.
Me and my girlfriend have wasted most of our money on cars that will probably never run and need to be junked. Regularly, I have had problems taking them to repair shops, getting a clutch for my Fuego. They couldn't find the clutch. They could do the work, but we had to find the clutch on our own and have it delivered to us. And then taking the car to another guy, he had an issue trying to find a new engine for it because they don't exist. You know, just finding parts.
Renault has a large following in Europe, but here in the United States, it's pretty much just plain gone. The problems are those cars, when they were new, were considered pretty much disposable cars, so people didn't take care of them. They didn't take care of them correctly when they were new, and as they died, they got turned into Toyotas, you know, squashed and turned into Toyotas. You don't do this kind of stuff to make money, and you don't do it to save money. You know, I tell everybody that you don't restore a car to try and sell it to make money, because you're going to go backwards. You know, you'd be better off pushing in a parking lot, pouring gas on it. I'm glad that hot rodding has a presence on television. That I'm glad for. Do I think these people are the ones that I want representing me? No, I don't think those are the people I want representing me. I just don't watch them much. What I've seen just disgusts me. I think it's caused guys to think that they can do this stuff who actually have no clue what they're doing.
They're nice showing what you can do, but given the fact that normal people in their normal homes don't have some of the special little tools to pull things apart or the knowledge of how to put them back together, and they don't have like $50,000 or $100,000 worth of people and engineering skill in order to do it in a matter of weeks and whatnot. An average person, it would take years. And many cars. I had no knowledge in anything except for maybe watching other people do stuff and looking in books like Haynes repair manuals. If it has pictures and directions, I can figure it out. If not, it's broken.
If you're interested in it, the best way to do it is just to start doing it. I took a lot of cars apart before I got the first one together. And your first effort's not going to be all that great. You know, you got to build upon that. You build upon your successes. You learn from your failures and you build upon your successes.